An angry man in Maine decided to retaliate against City Hall by releasing a cup of bedbugs in the building. This is the most creepy story that I think I've covered in a very long time, especially because I have PTSD in regard to bedbugs. But this happened at the Augusta City Center in Maine, and the man is unidentified. We don't know his name, but that's irrelevant. The backstory to this is that he was living in an apartment that was infested with bedbugs. He had asked his landlord to do something about it, but the landlord, according to him, refused. So as a result, he went to the city center or city hall and let them know, hey, this is what's happening. My landlord needs to do something about it. City Hall did get involved, to their credit, right? But by the time they got involved, he had moved out and moved into a different apartment. This is where things start to get shady. He moves into a new place. The old landlord agrees to deal with the infestation, which, by the way, he or she should have handled it from the get-go, because bed bugs are insanely smart and they spread insanely quickly. So it could go from one unit to every unit in the building and it'll destroy your life. But this guy now moves into a new unit, and City Hall contacts his new landlord and lets that landlord know, hey, he might end up, spreading the bed bugs to this new apartment. Just be aware, right? And so when that happened, the landlord kicked him out and he was not pleased. So he goes to City Hall and he's like, I'm gonna be homeless. Can you guys please help me out? I can't afford a new place. And so they looked into possibly providing him some public assistance so he could, find a new place to live. And then they found out that he doesn't qualify. At that point, he goes to City Hall, goes back to City Hall with a cup. He had a cup full of bed bugs, and he released it onto someone's desk. Now, if you have PTSD in regard to bed bugs, don't look at this next picture. But if you don't, here's what the scene looked like.
Oh my God.
Yeah, okay, so that is insane. And so at that point, they had to shut down City Hall for a couple days to make sure that the building wouldn't be infested with bed bugs, and then they reopened it. Now, as far as we know, no criminal charges have been filed against the man who retaliated in a very unique way. But this story is just insane to me because you guys don't understand. Bed bugs, first of all, right now they have evolved to a point where they're resistant to most insecticides. So they're very hard to get rid of, and then they're very easy to get. So I've personally talked about this on the post game for our members. And one time I went on a business trip in New York, and I didn't realize that the hotel that they had rented for me, it wasn't TYT, it was another media organization, was infested with bed bugs. And I made the grave mistake of putting my luggage down on the floor, which you should not do. Do not put your luggage down on the floor or any type of fabric. You should put it like on a hard surface like a desk or whatever, just to be safe. And apparently they crawled onto my luggage, followed me home, and a couple weeks later, Christian woke up with a bunch of bites. And I was like, what is that? He went to the dermatologist. Dermatologist tells him those are bed bugs. I laugh because I have OCD, like I clean nonstop. And I was like, there's no way we have bed bugs. Goes to a second dermatologist, finds out the same thing.
You didn't have any bites?
So the reason why, I've done a lot of research on this, the reason why people will get like the itchy red bumps is because bed bugs, when they first bite you, they inject you with an anesthetic, so you don't feel them as they're feeding on you for up to 10 minutes, right? So you don't swat them away. And some people are allergic to that anesthetic, others are not. So I'm guessing that Christian was allergic, which is why he had those red bumps and I didn't. But either way, it was the worst nightmare. It was one of the worst things I've ever experienced in my life. And I am not a punitive person, but if I was part of this situation, I would want criminal charges against him because it's terrible. It really is.
I think you also forgot to mention one of my favorite parts of the story, which is as he released the bed bugs, he said, quote, "They're your problem now."
Oh, and they are a problem.
Right. I mean, it's almost like a line from a movie. Just they're your problem now, and then they disperse.
How did he collect a cup full of bed bugs? And by the way, the city officials were right in notifying the landlord, right? The new landlord, because apparently he had access to a cup of bed bugs.
Yeah. This is, I've never experienced bed bugs.
It's the worst thing in the world.
I'm gathering because I'm not totally nauseous. I'm getting there though. I'm like,
it's so bad.
It's so bad. I didn't know what they looked like before this story. They were in your house, Anna?
Yeah. And by the way, so the way that you deal with it is you can, of course, bring in someone to fumigate the place.
Pest control guy.
Pest control, yeah, you can totally do that. Which, by the way, is very expensive. It's in LA. It runs about $500 each time they come.
Is that the thing? They have to put the tent over your house?
I think they do that for termites.
Oh.
Yeah, but so it's $500 each time they come, and usually they have to come multiple times. But it doesn't stop there. What I did is I just got rid of my bed and mattress completely. I was like, you're gone, right? I don't even want to look at you again. And you have to wash with hot water every piece of fabric in your place, and just ensure that you didn't leave any eggs behind.
Couch covers and all
everything.
That stuff?
Everything was cleaned. Everything was washed. Everything was fumigated and bombed. It was hard. It was one of the hardest things that I've gone through. And it's not just getting rid of them. It's also the phantom.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking of. That's what I'm thinking of. Is I have dealt with some mice and rodent stuff in my day, and I am always terrified of a possum under my bed or a mouse or a rat underneath my bed just scurrying out and getting a little cat on me. And even though I know that's not gonna happen and I dealt with it, I just think of them being and then just going for it. Just a great impression, by the way, of a possum.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Thank you.
I think I would be more comfortable with a possum in my place.
Yeah, because they can be tame. My friend had a possum.
Yeah.
It was found.
What?
Maybe that's a post-game story, but my friend actually owned a tame possum. And I'm saying friend, she worked at my gym, but I was friendly with her. I would consider, we haven't spoken in years now that I'm looking back, but I wish her well, her and the possum.
All right, okay. So that happened. All right. So look, I feel bad for everyone involved in this story. I feel bad for the guy who lost his new place. I feel bad for the city hall workers who were victimized by these bed bugs. Hopefully everyone's okay and there will be a solution to this incident. But this is insect warfare. Don't do it. It's just such a terrible way of retaliating against anyone. How do you have
Lord of the Flies?
How do you have a cup full of them? How traumatizing.
Young Turks now has over 6 billion lifetime views. You know who did that? You did that. We're now larger than CNN, ABC, you name a news network online, we're larger than them. And you built all that as everyone scoffed and didn't believe. And here we are, guys, thanks to you. Build independent media together with us at tytnetwork.com/join.